Well, hello and welcome again to our reading of Iliad, Book 3, and we're up to line 171. And thus far we've seen Helen and Priam up on the ramparts of Troy, looking down on the Greeks. Just for a bit of fun, I might just put a little picture here just to give us a bit of a sense of it here. Just a painting from somewhere. And there's Helen and Priam and the others there with him, and they're looking down upon the Greeks down below Troy. Okay, so in line 171 then, Helen replies to Priam's question. He asks who this particular Achaean is, and of course it's Agamemnon. So, as Helen's about to tell us. So Helen replied to him, Muthoisi with words, Helen who is dia gunaikon, glorious among women, partitive genitive here. And she says, Essi, now that's the uncontracted form for the second person singular from Amy, so you are idoios moi. So you are someone I have great respect for. You are adoios. It's a word showing great sense of respect. So worthy of respect. Phile hekure. Now, Indo-European and also Homeric Greek has a lot of different words for relationships between families and in terms of marriages and so on. Hekure is a word meaning father-in-law. So, dear father-in-law, and you are denos. Well, it's a word with a huge range of meanings. It's probably something like, perhaps we translate it here, inspiring, rather than strange or terrible. It's got that sense of terrible in the sense of I have great, I'm in awe of you. Hos ophelen plus infinitive. So, would that death. Hardane is from handano, and so there's the verb handano here. And it's like those verbs like lanthano and lambano and manthano and so on. We have a nasal infix in the present, and we have the an root, that iterative present ending, and if we take all that out, then we're left with the stem, which is had. And so here we're seeing the aorist infinitive, hardane, from handano, to please. So, would that death had been pleasing to me. Kakos really here is, it's almost although it is terrible. Hopote, when, and very emphatic, with your son. Hepoman, from hepomai, I followed here, duro. So when I followed your son here, lipusa, participle from lepo, having left, and we get various tets and kais here, having left my thalamon, well, this is bedroom, but almost bridal chamber here, and gnotus, my known ones, my relatives. You can see the gignosko root in here, the ones that you know, so your kinsmen. And my child, in fact, daughter, this is referring to Hermione, te lugetain. This is a word of whose meaning is uncertain. It's often rendered as either of tender age or last born. In fact, it was the only child she has. And my homelikian. Now we get an abstract noun here. It really means my lovely companionship from those of my own age. So sometimes this rendered my lovely companions of girlhood, or perhaps because it's an abstract here, my lovely companionship of my girlhood. Alata guk egenonto, but these things were not to be. These things did not take place. That is, she didn't stay with her child and stay with her friends. To is probably adverbial here, something like wherefore. Wherefore also, for which reason also. Teteka, from tako. This is the perfect here. Tako is to melt, and this is almost to be in a state of melting, so hence worn out. Teteka, from tako. So, for which reason also I am worn out by weeping, klausa, participle. Now she gets back to the main point, but I will speak this thing to you. So I'll tell you that thing which in aria you have asked of me and you have inquired of, from metalao. Houtos, this guy, in fact, is the son of Atreus, Agamemnon, who rules widely. So wide-ruling Agamemnon, the son of Atreus. Amphoteron and two tes. So he is both, I think is the way I took it here, he is both a noble king and a strong aikmetes, a strong spearsman. Da'e, he's another one of these words for relationship. This is brother-in-law. And moreover, eske is iterative from Amy. It's almost like he used to be my brother-in-law. And then we have to understand an emu or something here from emos, of me, because this is genitive. So he was once the brother-in-law of me who have the face of a dog. Helen often in the Iliad and in the Odyssey is very self-deprecating. She's very conscious of the fact that she's done terrible things, and she often compares herself with a bitch or a dog, and so we get this here. This last phrase here is odd, and it's argued about exactly what it means. It's something like, if ever it was indeed true, is one way of taking this, in the sense of that it's all like a dream. It happened so long ago. So much has happened since. So once this man was once my brother-in-law of me with the face of a dog, if ever it was true. Hos phato, and thus she spoke, and the old man, this of course is Priam, agasato, from agamai, to wonder at or admire. So he admired him, te phonesen, this is aorist without the augment, and said. And of course, this is vocative here, but of course Agamemnon can't hear him. He's just saying this from up in the citadel. O Makar Atrede, O blessed son of Atreus, Moiregenes, well, something like born from fortune or child of fortune or something. Olbiodimon, this again is evocative. It would be daimon, but it's vocative. This would be s, but they're shortened because they're vocative forms. So olbios is prosperous. So of prosperous fortune for daimon here. Also, now ade often has a sense of at one time. It's almost like once for also at one time. Ace aeluthen, this is from ace aelthen. This aeluther form is probably an eolicism. It's an eolic form of aelthon, and this is the aorist here. And it's useful to fit the meter from time to time. So it's ace erchomai. So at one time also I went into Phrygia, which is Ampeloesin, which is rich in vineyards, with its vineyards. So I went to Phrygia with its vineyards. Enther, there, Idon for Adon, I saw, Plaistus Frugas, literally the most Phrygian, so a huge number of Phrygian men, Iolopolus, this is with swift horses, with Phrygian men and their swift horses, the people of Ortreus and Mugdone, who was godlike. So the race of, or the people of Ortreus and godlike Mugdone, who at that time then were encamped, this is passive here, imperfect I think from Stratoo, who were encamped beside the banks of Sangarius. This is a river here. For Egon for ego, for I, Eon for own, being Epikuros, being an ally. Electhane is aorist passive, it's from that leg root of choosing, so I was chosen, perhaps I was counted among with them, among them. So for I, being an ally, I was counted among them on that day when the manlike Amazons came, but not were they such, so they were not so many as, that is in number, they were not in number so many as these Achaeans with their helicopes. This is again another word that's much debated and it's not quite clear exactly. It's generally translated as with whirling eyes. That hell, from that heliso, to whirl, and the opes is that eye or face, so with whirling eyes. And that's the end of that little section.